Y'all, I said I wasn't gonna get emotional in this video.
I've been trying to get told am I right. Take me places I ain't ever seen and get me high. I've been trying not to let the devil guide my life. Where I'm going, only God knows if it's right. Holy, holy light, yeah.
From the title of the video, y'all can see what I will be talking about today. And no, this is not clickbait. This is a real story. This is what really happened to me. And one of the reasons that I created my YouTube channel in the first place was for me to eventually tell this story and show you guys that no matter the obstacles that come into your life, like, don't let that deter you from what you see for yourself in the future or the plans and stuff that you got going on. So that being said, freshman year I took my basic classes of English, and the first paper we wrote was a narrative about a time that you've overcome an obstacle or learned a new skill set or something in that regard. And I chose to write about this story. So I thought the best way for me to tell this story to y'all is to start by reading the majority of this paper that I wrote freshman year, because it's like a summary of what all happened. And then I will tell you guys the full story from the beginning, because I've never told this story to anyone. My family knows most of the story because they witnessed it, but nobody knows how I felt about it. My friends that I had back in grade school, they know nothing about it. I've never told a single soul about this story. It's not that I was ashamed of it or anything like that. I never saw myself in a situation where, like, I had a friend or somebody that I can willingly open up to tell this story, because I don't want no pity from this or nothing like that. I just want to tell this story to let y'all know how I felt and see where I am now from what I went through. So yeah, so I'm gonna start by reading this paper, and then I'm just gonna start from the beginning and just walk y'all through the whole story. I was once homeless. The tragic experience made me open up my eyes and appreciate the things I had in my life. I had to learn a new way of improvising and had to push on no matter how hard things began feeling. Let me start at the beginning first. It all began during my middle school years. In the 6th grade, I was zoned to a different school than most of my friends. I was a very shy kid. I still am, actually. So during the first year, I stayed to myself. My 7th and 8th grade years were much more exciting. I started to play organized basketball. I even won MVP. Yeah, I had to brag a little bit. But yeah, and my social life began soaring as much as it could for a 12 or 13-year-old. My personal/family life, on the other hand, began to take a turn for the worse. It was made known my parents were getting a divorce. They began their separation during my 7th grade year. My father instantly moved out of their home, so it was just me and my mom. At first, I was saddened by the news of my parents' decision, but in the end, I began to accept it. I didn't think that their decision would be one of the most life-changing events for me, though. My freshman year of high school is when everything started to really change. Not even 2 months into the start of the school year, my mother and I lost our home and became homeless. At first, my mother and I took shelter in a hotel that we paid weekly. It was a huge change and took a while for me getting used to. I was confined to 4 walls literally every day. I could look at the front door if I turned my head to the left, and if I turned my head to the right, I was looking at our bathroom. The room always felt dreary and depressing and gave me a depressing feeling. I began to keep my feelings to myself because my mom was doing everything that she could for me at the time, and I didn't want to put another burden on her. We stayed in the first hotel for a few weeks. Then the expenses became too much. I ended up transferring to a school in a different city so we could stay at another hotel that we could afford. This hotel was no different from the first. Within another month, we had to move again, so the best thing for me was to continue my schooling online. We began moving from city to city, house to house, hotel to hotel. It took us from November 2013 up until nearly August 2015 to find a new home. Through this time, life began to get harder and harder for me. I lost all sense of a social life, and I honestly did not know what to make of my new one. I had to quit doing the one thing I absolutely loved to do more than anything, which is playing basketball. The only thing I had left for me was my studies. With everything that was going on at the time, I had more than one reason as to why I could have just forgot about my academics. I could have dropped out and took up doing anything at the time, and my situation would have given me a great reason behind such actions. I chose another path for myself, though. I decided to pour all of my time into my studies. It was the one thing from my past that I had left, and I didn't want to let go of everything. I dove headfirst into school. I even took some courses over the summer to get ahead. That proved to be one of the best decisions I made during that time. With having took that class over the summer after my freshman year, it advanced my education by a whole year. I was given the opportunity to graduate a year early, which I jumped at and became a part of the class in 2016 instead of 2017. I made this choice a little too late. I will find out though. As I began looking into colleges, I found either the deadline had passed and or the institution was looking for applicants with more than just academics to show. I never gave up though, and here I am today writing my first college essay at Coastal Carolina University. Shots up. I'm even wearing a shirt. Shots up. So that's like a little summary of what all happened, but I'm going to start from the beginning as well to let you know exactly what went down. Like I said, it began my middle school years. As a kid, I was really shy, like really shy. I still am really shy. I gotta like get to know you before I open up and you see how goofy I really am. I transferred schools, and it took me a good year to get into the swing of things. My 7th grade year is when my parents started their separation, and it wasn't the greatest. Like, it wasn't the cleanest separation. My dad ended up moving out the house. It was just me and my mom. Now, when my mom and dad got married, it was made us that he was going to be working and she was stay at home and, you know, whatever. So she didn't have any income. So it was basically me and my mom, but my dad was still putting up his responsibility. It was just a messy back and forth kind of thing though. So, like I said, it was me and my mom's, and we were in a 2-story, 3-bedroom house with no income inside of the house. So that quickly was shot out. So this happened around my 8th grade year when he moved out. So it took us another, I would say half a year to a whole year to actually become where we couldn't afford this house anymore. And at that time I was starting my freshman year. I don't even believe I got into a full month before we ended up losing the house. So we ended up moving to a hotel that was still in that city, and my dad he works up the road from where we stayed, so he would come to the hotel, pick me up, drop me off at school. I would catch the bus from school to his residency. He would pick me up from his house and he would take me back to the hotel, and I would be with my mom. At this time, I did not want to stay with my dad. My mom was always like, I'm a daddy's girl. Like, I'm a huge sports fan. Like, all that stuff comes from him, but my mom is my rock. So I decided to stay with her. I wanted to stay with her, so I did. So we did this for a few weeks. Then this hotel that we were staying in became too much. So we ended up moving about an hour or so south to another weekly rented hotel. I ended up transferring to another high school there, and this high school was not for me. A couple weeks went by and this hotel became too much as well, so we had to leave. We ended up going back to my hometown to get a hotel there for a bit, but in that point in time, this was made known that I needed to do online school just to be able to keep up with everything, because we did not have a permanent residence. Like, we were literally homeless. We just moved hotel to hotel, and then eventually I did that when we came back to my hometown. We stayed there for a couple more weeks, and eventually it was just made known that these fees were too much. We couldn't keep going week from week, paying hundreds of dollars. We had to get food. It was not in our best interest. So we ended up at this point in time, I was doing my online school. So me and my mom, Greyhound became our best friend. We went from, I don't even know what city we started in, but I'm just gonna name a couple that we went to. We ended up in Chicago. We ended up in Des Moines, Iowa, St. Petersburg, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. We went to the city that I was born in, which is in North Carolina, about 30 minutes from where I grew up. And we went from house to house, family members, friends. We just tried to get anywhere we fit in, honestly, because we didn't have anywhere to go. We couldn't afford a house. Like, it was just me and my mom. Like, we couldn't do anything. My dad still gave us our funds because that was his responsibility as a father, and they're still not divorced, so he still had an obligation to the marriage. So he paid his dues or whatever, but it wasn't enough. So we did that. Like I said, I think it was let's see, 2013. This all happened in August 2013, and we didn't get a house till literally 2 years later. During this time, I never expressed how I felt. Like, my mom tried to get me to go to counselors, but I never opened up, because like I didn't want to put a burden on my mom. Like, she was going through it hard. Like, I know my mom, like she had it rough. So me opening up and expressing myself and just putting more stress on her was not, I didn't see that was in the best interest. So I never opened up for one of that reason. And two, it's just, I felt it, but it's just like I was numb to it all. It was like I was just going through the motions, basically. How I feel about the situation, it was like I said in the paper, it was depressing. It was. I lost my friends. I had no outlet to the outside world. I had a phone, but when you don't see people in person, like you learn who your real friends are. Like, I reached out to people and I felt as though like I was a burden. Like, I'm not finna reach out to you and you just like cold shoulder me, and like I'm not finna do that. So I just cut all that off. Basketball was my #1 passion. I almost didn't even get to play my 8th grade year, because this is the 7th grade year is when it all happened. So 8th grade year was really tough. One of my teachers, like, I gotta shout you out. Like, you don't understand how much what you did meant to me. I don't know if I should say her name, so she knows who she is. But she paid my athletic fees you have to pay before you're able to get on the team to practice or anything. So she paid my athletic fees that semester, and in turn, I helped her sort papers, helped her with study hours during lunch and stuff like that. But she will never understand how much what she did. I'm about to get emotional talking about this. She will never understand how much that meant to me. Knowing that basketball was like my #1 passion, the only thing that let me get outside of the house and just get away from that environment for a bit was basketball. And to be able to do it, like, that meant the world to me. And I will never ever be able to repay you for that. Like, no amount of money would repay for the time for that time. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that for me. Y'all, I said I wasn't gonna get emotional in this video. But yeah, basketball was my passion, and to give that up, like, it was hard. I'm trying to get out this emotional state, y'all. It's an emotional story, but I did not want to get emotional on y'all. From the beginning, I've always been a nerd. Middle school came around, I had double advanced classes. I was able to stay on track with school, and being online and having nothing else to do, I pretty much poured all my extra free time into my schoolwork to advance my studies. And I ended up graduating in 2016 instead of 2017, which is really dope. And I decided to make this move a little too late. Like I said, the deadlines were gone, scholarships are gone. They were cracking down on the applicants that they would be accepted in certain schools. But Coastal Carolina came through for me. And like, my goals were always to play college basketball, go to the WNBA, but also to get a degree in college. And to have to go through what I went through, that just gave me like the inspiration to pull through and to overcome these obstacles and persevere. I've always been an optimistic person, and to have something to look forward to know that this is here, like, this is my out. School is my ticket to get myself together and be able to provide for my mother, for she'll never have to worry another day in her life about anything. So yeah, like, I just wanted to share this story with y'all, and to basically say, like, don't ever give up. Like, no matter what terrible obstacles or what's thrown your way, like, do not get thrown off task. Like, if you see something for yourself in the future, go for it. Like, do not ever give up. It's gonna take some time. You might not see the outcomes like instantly, like I haven't. But if you work for it, you continue to strive and do what you set out to do, like it will work for you, I promise. So I'm done with all the depressing stuff. No more tears, no more emotions for me. This is like, I just wanted to put this story out for you guys to get to know me a little better, to understand where I'm coming from. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that thumbs up button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications so you know when I upload a video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Take it from the surface, I know I gotta tone it down. I've been up working, you know, trying to perfect this. They don't wanna see me evolve, I gotta turn it right. Amp it up before I get told that I can't let it out. Visions and visions are in the back of my head, but they don't wanna listen to the spaz of a kid. And I know mom and dad are proud of all that I did, but they don't understand what I be calling this.